Hello everybody and welcome to week 9, actually our last week for Financial Management of Aging Services. Let's just take a moment to look back at the road we've traveled and what we've covered in this term, because we have covered a lot of information. If we remember all the way back to the beginning of this all started out with us assessing our financial knowledge in the very beginning and getting comfortable with some financial terminology. After we did that, in the second week, we took a look at the balance sheet and income statements, statement of cash flow, and the annual reports. All of those reports were something that we looked at in the second and third weeks. We followed that with budgeting. You'll remember we did zero-based budgeting and the traditional historical averaging and looked at how that is done. We looked at fixed and variable costs and how those are involved in the budgeting process. We then took a look at the 5 financial ratios. We looked at the current ratio, quick ratio, debt to equity ratio, profit and collection periods. And we had an assignment on those ratios that was a challenge for many of us, but we all got through it. Then we took a look at break even and variance analysis. That was also a nice challenge for us. Last week we took a look at using the numbers. We looked at discounted cash flows and also calculated internal rate of return, net present value, the profitability index, and return on investment. Finally, we took a look at debt and equity financing. How do we finance our projects? How do we finance investments for equipment and so forth in a company? We took a look at calculating whether an investment makes sense and if we could afford the debt service and those type of calculations. So that's what we've done up to this point. It's been generic and specific financial information that you'll deal with in the financial services industry in dealing with management of aging services. Now, this week, in the final week, we're going to take a look specifically at the financial and estate planning basics for older adults. There are some very specific issues involved with financial and estate planning, and I want to address them so that you'll be empowered to handle these should they come up in your future careers. We're going to take a look at asset protection, what a senior can do to protect their assets so they're not completely depleted by their health care needs. We're going to take a look at the financial aspects of care. How can care be paid for? We're going to take a look at end-of-life issues that need to be discussed, either with professionals and or with family. And we're going to take a look at some common stumbling blocks that come up when those issues need to be discussed and how we can overcome those. So that's what this week looks at. There is, of course, a 10-point quiz this week, as usual. There's not a specific assignment this week. However, the discussion question for this week is very detailed. So what I've done is I've added points to the discussion question. It's worth a full 12 points. 10 points for your actual contribution and still 2 points for your comments to your cohorts, to one other cohort. So the discussion question is kind of a joint discussion question and assignment for the week. All right, that's this week. Now let's take a look at some important dates that we need to review. Your term project is due exactly 1 week from today, Monday, and you're probably looking at this on Tuesday, but it is due next Monday, the 8th, by midnight. That's your term project. I hope you're all making progress on that, and if there are any questions or issues, email those to me or work with, more importantly, with your team leader. They have a lot of answers for you there. Next Monday, after the term project is due, the final exam will be posted. You've got all week to take that exam, and you know you can go in and start it and save it. So you've got all week to do it. Obviously it's open book, open note, open memory, and it's going to be multiple choice and true and false, just like all the quizzes you've seen. In fact, it's going to be made up of many of the quiz questions that you've had throughout the term. And that needs to be completed by next Friday, the 12th of March. And then that will put the final explanation point on this term. And I won't be doing any more videos, so this will be my last video. It's been really great working with all of you this term, If you have any further questions or needs, of course, you know you can email me and we'll address them there. That's worked very well in the past. And I hope to be working with all of you again sometime in the very near future in another class. Let's all have a great week.